Too many people in America fear their government, and the government is being run by too many powerful agencies like the IRS and others. I think it's time the people take the country back through their representative government.
Hey, Mr. Politician, living on that hill, living in that lap of luxury on we the people's bill. Don't have a clue how the other half lives, and that is a shame. It's time to stop the tyranny. You keep pushing through your bills. Going for a revolution, going for it now. It's time to save our Constitution while we still got the guns in our hands.
Hi, welcome to Freedom TV. I'm Renee Kimball, your host, and we have a very interesting program for you today. We're going to be learning a lot about my favorite thing, pastry, and some excellent meals that you can cook, or shall we say prepare, very easily and very simply. Mary from Mary's Bakery and Deli is here, and she's going to give us some great advice on how to do some unusual things. But first, I'm going to climb on my sovereign soapbox, and I'm going to have a few words about a couple of things. And the first thing I'd like to show you is I want you to be proud of me because I have made it on the radar of the Council on Foreign Relations. I'd like to show you they've actually sent me a subscription to their magazine, and they've given me a professional discount. I get $39.75 off, so I only pay $19.95 for a year's subscription of Foreign Affairs. I don't know, but I don't think I'll be doing this one. My second sovereign soapbox is, how do you know government is too big? Well, my answer to that is when they have their own video magazine. When it's a military video magazine. I don't know. I think that's really kind of strange that the government needs its own in-house produced magazine about video production. I think government's too big. What do you think? So that's my sovereign soapbox for today. And we're going to go into a short. We haven't had our Surviving and Thriving short because I'm getting some new things in. I'm going to get a whole bunch of ways to cook with home storage, food that you buy to store and then use, like powdered eggs, powdered milk. How do you cook with this? And that's what we're going to be doing very shortly. But until then, we're going to run some of our excellent shorts that we're doing. And the first short that we're going to be having is an interesting, two funny little ones called Cap and Trade and Human Achievement Hour.
The human species are confronting a planetary emergency, a threat to the survival of our civilization that is gathering ominous and destructive potential.
Each one of us is a cause of global warming.
We need to be part of a strong global treaty. Along with using the tax system and a cap and trade treaty approach, you should not shy away from using regulatory power. This Congress should enact a moratorium, ratify a new, tougher treaty, work toward de facto compliance.
As George Orwell reminds us, sooner or later, a false belief bumps up against a solid reality.
No!
Usually on a battlefield.
There is no global warming crisis. The Earth hasn't warmed for a decade, but politicians are using this so-called crisis as an excuse to raise taxes, choke our economy, and control our lives. Don't let them push us into a new 1984.
2009, between 8:30 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. is Earth Hour. During that hour, lights will go out around the world. This is what you can expect. Instead, join millions of others who will celebrate Human Achievement Hour at the same time. It will look something like this.
Believe it all is coming to an end. Oh well, I guess we're gonna pretend. Let's see how far we come. Yeah, let's see how far we come. 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 Let's see how far we come.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Hi, welcome back. And I'm here with Mary Gaspeed. There we go.
Yes.
And we're going to be talking about pastry, particularly one of my favorite things, but something that I do terribly, just really badly, and some quick and easy things that you can make on your own ahead of time so that you can prepare some really nice meals.
Okay.
Excellent.
Good.
Now, first I want to start off with, you weren't originally born in this country, were you?
No, I came here in 1970 from Iran.
Iran.
And,
Okay.
left and went back for a very short trip in 1973, and I've been here since then.
You've been here since then.
Yes.
And when you came here, you didn't come with a whole set of skills of doing pastry, did you?
No,
No.
I was fresh out of high school.
Fresh out of high school when
Yeah.
you came here.
Yes.
Well, what made you decide that this was something that you'd like to do?
It just happened.
Really?
It just happened one day. I decided that I was going to bake. That was it.
And I'm going to bake, and
Yeah.
that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, what started you out from? Where did you start when you started baking? Because I think this is fascinating. How somebody just decides to do something and
Just at home. I baked at home, and then decided to do wholesale to restaurants and coffee shops, and started that at home, and then it just kind of grew till I got my own place, retail and wholesale.
right. And so then you can just create on your own there.
Yeah, have fun.
Oh, excellent. Now, one of the things that I like about pastry is it seems easy, and sometimes it actually is.
Well, it
But
is
there's
sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes, but most of the time it's like, I'm battling the dough and just not able to get things together. What are some of the little secrets about pastry?
Well, to start with, you just pick up a recipe. If you've never baked, you get a recipe. You try it. A lot of times the recipes don't work.
Why? This is
It's
something
just,
what is this?
It's not a right recipe. It just doesn't work. You go to another one. Or you're having a hard time with it, and sometimes you have to repeat it like 2-3 times
Right.
to get it right.
And then what is this? I mean, I can, especially with bread, I can make bread, and sometimes I can put the exact same thing in the exact same way, in the exact same order, and sometimes it's like pita bread, and other times it's this lovely, fluffy loaf.
Well, it has a lot to do with flour, the temperature,
Really?
and
So
the
those
kind
things
of, the
can
kind of flour
actually
you
influence.
put in your mix, and the temperature of the room, and all kinds of conditions make a difference.
So these kinds of external things can actually influence
You bet.
the pastry
right.
itself. Okay, so I'm not crazy.
No.
I just thought the
But it's
gods
work.
are against me.
You have to practice.
You have to practice.
Yes.
And when you started out, what did you first start baking?
When did I start baking?
No, what was the first thing you started
I think I
baking?
started with cakes. Oh, no, cheesecake. Cheesecake was my
Cheesecake.
very favorite.
Oh, really?
And it took me a long time to get the right cheesecake. But I'm self-taught. So
Yeah.
I made and didn't work out, so I tossed it and I started again. And repeated it a few times till I really, you learn just trying it.
It's the experimentation.
It is.
So you like the experimentation.
I enjoyed it, yeah. That's how I learned. You either go to school, spend a lot of money,
A lot
and
of
have
money.
somebody teach you,
Yeah.
or you have fun practicing and learning that way.
And if you really enjoy doing it,
I
then
love
it's,
doing it,
Yeah,
yes.
it's not
Yeah.
work.
No, it's not,
like,
yeah.
oh, gee, I'm going to have to go and bake today. Yeah. Somehow I don't see you as that kind of a person.
I enjoy baking and cooking.
Now, in the cooking realm, is there some particular way that you cook? Like, do you have a particular style of cooking? Are there like styles of cooking that people do?
Oh,
or-
yeah, there is. I can usually pick up a recipe and, I don't know, it's just always, you have a touch, you have a special touch. A lot of my food have a little accent, I call it. Yes,
yeah, a
it's
little
got an
accent.
accent. It's got a foreign accent to
Yeah,
it.
a little foreign accent.
It's just my touch, but yeah, it's everybody's got their own touch.
And one thing that I found that was really interesting is you cannot copyright a recipe. You can only copyright the directions. Like all the ingredients in a recipe, you can't copyright that. I was really amazed to find that out. You can only copyright the directions of how you put the things together, which I thought was interesting. And what you said about having your own little touch, where you have a standard recipe for something very straightforward like sugar cookies.
Right.
But some people's sugar cookies, it's like at the fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely people who deserve to win the blue ribbon at the fair, and there's just these little touches that people do.
Yes.
What's your favorite thing that you like to do in the pastry area?
What kind of pastries? Pies. I love making pies. I love eating pies. But that's pies would be my favorite thing to
Why
eat.
pies? I mean,
I don't know.
in
It's just such a
just-
I don't think I never had any pies when I was growing up, but once I tried it, that was it. That's what
Really?
pies and cheesecake. I love those too.
So in Iran, they don't have It's not something that
We didn't
they
have
eat?
pies. We had different pastries. There is a lot of mostly French bake pastries.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Napoleons and cream puffs and baklava and a lot of different cookies that they did. There was rice cookies and walnut cookies. A lot of cookies that were gluten free and.
That's interesting. Why is that
Just
a
happened that
particular
way.
flavor that people
they
like?
work well, like rice. They they eat a lot of rice, so they made cookies with rice, and they use a lot of nuts in their baking. Baklava is loaded with pistachios and walnuts, but it's a lighter. It's not so fluffy and sugary.
And it's also not so carbohydrate heavy. It's just like a lot of the cakes and pies and things can be very heavy. But it's interesting that in Iran, pies were not a big thing.
I never had any pies. I'm sure they probably do have it now. I've been out of the country for almost 40 years, but never had pies, never even saw or made pies till I came here.
And then it was all over.
My first pie was a cherry pie, sour cherry pie, and that was it.
That was it.
Yes.
Well, we're going to take a look at some of the things that you've created. So if we can bring those up, we'll have a look at some of the. And speaking of pies, now I'm guessing this is a pumpkin.
That's a pumpkin pie.
This is a perfect pumpkin. It's like, but how come mine never turn out with that just glazed look over the top? Mine always have like cracks or fissures in them.
Well, you just have to bake it right. I mean, bake it till it's done.
Right.
You have to bake it. You can't over bake it. When you over bake it, it cracks.
Right.
If
that
it's
must be what I'm
baked till it's custardy,
right.
So it's all smooth and custard inside.
Oh,
and that's a pecan pie.
That's a pecan pie. Oh gosh, that's lovely. I want one.
Yes. That's the cheesecake. Yes.
Now, I understand there's a lot of different varieties of cheesecake, and we'll talk a little bit more about that after these are over. But this cheesecake is like you need a crane to take it out the door. This is a real cheesecake.
Yeah, it weighs probably about an 8-pound cheesecake. Yeah.
And this is the chocolate couple cake.
That was a groom's cake. I was a part of a wedding cake.
Oh, really?
This was the groom's cake. They had chocolate with chocolate dipped strawberries, and I made the bride and groom out of dark chocolate for the top.
Cute. That's great. And there's a little spread of, oh boy.
Yeah, that was another wedding cake that I did, and they had dessert around the wedding cake. There is the center wedding cake, and then torts and pies and a cheesecake around that.
And this was all at one event?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I wish I'd been invited to
Yes.
that one. And this is the classic.
That's the
three-tier.
bride's cake, or the wedding cake that went with the groom's cake. That,
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the white one, and the other one was the chocolate with the...
The sinful cake.
And those are cream puffs.
Those are cream puffs.
Yes, that's a cream puff drizzled with caramel sauce.
Oh, uh-oh. This is not the show to do when you're hungry. Now, is this a bundt cake? Is this what they call a bundt cake?
That's the ginger cake. It's a bundt cake filled with rum whipped cream, rum-flavored whipped cream.
So that's what's filling the center
yes,
of it.
Yes, yes.
And then the cheesecake in the
Yes.
background, the monster cheesecake. And here we have a selection of pies and goodies, and yum. Too bad you can't eat them. Now, this is some of the things that we're going to talk about also. Some of the quick and easy meals that you've put together that are not that difficult, but really nutritious and very, very good looking. Can you describe some of what some of those are?
Okay, on the bottom part we have the lasagna with garlic bread and salad, and the top is a Greek salad, and the Greek salad is the easiest and wonderful, delicious salad you can put together real quick.
And what is typically in a Greek salad?
Greek salad, you have the cucumber and tomatoes and Kalamata olives and feta cheese and pepper, green pepper and onions, and you can just put anything you want. You
right, but mainly it has the feta and the and some more little salad up there.
Yeah.
Or those? No, that's not salad. That's
that was the feta. It's an appetizer platter with feta and bread and olives.
And all of these are fairly easy to make.
Oh my, yes, very easy.
They're not difficult, but they look great, and they've got all kinds of flavor to them.
Yes.
And there we have.
Then we have the fruit platter and the veggie platter. The top is
that's an unusual veggie platter because it's got a lot of interesting vegetables. Usually you have celery and carrots.
No, it has, I think it has olives and tomatoes, cherry tomatoes and cauliflower. Excellent. And some other stuff.
Now these are the main dish.
That was the chicken breast rolled up and stuffed, and another one was the salmon plate, and then we had the prawns, chilled prawns. That was part of the catering.
Right. And those are excellent meals. You can make them for practically any size. You can make a little one, make a big one.
Right. Now that is the barbecue chicken and saffron rice. And then the left is sabzi, and those are Persian meals. And those are a little bit more involved.
Okay.
Those are just. But the chicken, you can marinate your chicken with a little bit of lemon juice
that sounds good.
And yogurt. Just mix lemon juice, yogurt, and some chopped
and you just marinate
chopped
the
onions, and then barbecue. That is wonderful. The lemon juice and yogurt makes it very nice and tender.
I'll have to. And here's some more wedding cake.
Yes.
This one's lovely.
That was an outdoor wedding cake. That was just a beautiful setting. It was a gorgeous day.
And this is another cake, and I wanted people to see the detail on this. There's the full cake, and then it looks like a basket.
That's a basket weave.
Oh my gosh.
With pansies, the dark purple pansies. It was just beautiful.
Oh, that's a great one. And then this one is my personal favorite. This is just exquisite.
Yeah, it was a beautiful cake.
The flower arranging is to die for.
Yeah.
And all those flowers. So it's one of the things when we come back to us, I want to talk to you a little bit. What have you noticed over the years? Are there like trends in pastry? Do things come in and go out and come in and go out? Or?
Well, they go out for just a little bit and then they come back. I mean, it's just that I think things are getting a little lighter. People don't want the heavy stuff anymore.
The heavy French pastries.
A little lighter on carb and less fat.
Less
just
fat.
Just lighter.
how can you have a non-fat cake? I mean, let's be
yeah,
real.
We could. We're going to have pavlova, and that's non-fat.
That's non-fat.
Well,
That's
unless
amazing.
you add the whipped cream to it.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, but hey,
Yeah, you got to have some flavor.
pavlova without whipped cream.
Right.
Now, in pastry cooking in particular, one of the things that I have a problem with is I use an oil dough for a pie. I use oil instead of like shortening or butter. There's a window of like 12 and a half seconds of when you put that water in, those dribble the cold water in and fork it together and slap it in the pan. I mean, seriously, there's like 12 seconds between the dough being okay with it and just turning into a crumbly mess. What am I doing wrong?
Oh, well, when I make my dough, I make it with butter. I don't make it with oil. Oil probably be very good. Olive oil or just vegetable oil?
I've used olive oil. I've used hemp seed oil. I've tried different oils, and there's some pretty spectacular failures with some of the oils. They don't work.
Better to add a little bit more water.
Okay.
Kind of maybe have it just a little bit loose, and then you can add flour to it.
Right.
Then have it too dry.
Right.
If it's too dry, it just breaks on you. You can't work with it.
Get it into the
But
pan.
a little bit more water, and yes.
I'll try
So
that.
it'll make it a little easier to roll.
And what's the difference between, I know a lot of times the dough will turn out just hard. It's not flaky. What makes a flaky pie crust?
Well, you don't beat it too much. I mean, once when you put butter in it, you make it crumbly. You just add the butter and the sugar and flour, beat it up, or just kind of mix it in the mixer till it gets really crumbly or very fine crumbs, and then you add your cold water to that.
Right.
And just as soon as it comes together, you take it out. You don't sit there and let it go for a long time.
That'll keep
builds
it
up
nice
the
and
gluten
flaky.
and makes it too hard. You want to make it just, take it out of the bowl and work with it, and don't work with it too long. I mean, just very quick.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a very quick procedure.
Yeah, the quicker
the
you
less
work
you
with
handle
it, right.
the better.
Right.
Great. Well, we're going to have you decorate for us when we come back.
Okay.
And right now we're going to take a short break,
Okay.
and I believe we're going to be going to one of the people who were on the show several months ago, and that was Segway, SK Northwest. Brought a Segway and described it to us and showed us how this magic little machine worked. And here's a little video that gives you an idea of how this machine works. So this is Segway.
Hi, my name is Ron Reich. I'm Director of Mechanical Engineering here at Segway. I'm employee number 8. I think we successfully took a lot of the things that were good about the original machine, and the big one is really the intuitive interface, the fact that all you have to do is kind of lean forward a little bit to go forward, lean back a little bit to go back, and we were able to take that interface and extend it to other parts of the machine.
Hi, I'm David Robinson. I lead the team that works on system dynamics and system safety. The lean steer gives a new dimension to the system. You know, when people ride the Segway, they get the Segway smile.
And taking that magic and keeping that magic, but still making the machine better.
Gen 2 needed to be just as safe as our first generation Segway.
And the design we ultimately came up with and are taking to production is actually quite simple. It has a very small number of components. Each component does multiple functions. And when you put it all together, it looks really good as well.
The i2 and the X2 are really all new products. They're not just small improvements over the existing products. And there's breakthroughs in several areas.
My name is Scott Waters. I'm the Director of Industrial Design.
Top half of the machine has evolved into a very, very different type of structure, which is pivoted, located here relative to the base.
The pivot is the central focus of the product, and that's where we put all of our color.
And that whole frame actually follows the body, and the computers on board the base decide what to do. And we can precisely generate the right amount of turn and the right amount of lateral acceleration to balance your lean angle.
What I've got is the balance sensor assembly. It's the machine's inner ear, if you'd like. It is the thing that has all of the sensors that figure out which way is up, how the machine is leaning. Interestingly enough, it also is the sensor that figures out how the rider would like to steer the machine.
Hi, I'm Phil LeMay. I'm Director of Electrical Engineering here at Segway Inc. And this is the wireless info key controller. It's IEEE 802.15.4. It gives a wide degree of flexibility because it's not wired. So all of the security features travel with you if you leave the machine behind. There's a continuous flow of information both from this device to the PT and back. Can I talk to it? So to start your PT, you just tap the power button and the info key controller comes up, shows you the battery gauge. Now if you step on, you'll see Blinky appears. You can also toggle between whatever kind of display you want in terms of trip computer or speed. Also you can have the time of day or the date showing. And then at the bottom you can see the antenna symbol that shows you that the wireless info key is communicating with the PT. And then to power down your PT, you just press and hold the power key for 2 seconds. And the machine shuts off.
One of the interesting stories around this is around the face. As many of our customers know, the face on our display in the original product is something that gained a lot of appeal. Internally, his name is Blinky, but I didn't coin that. If the light is red, it's not ready to ride. If you see the green light in the center, it's ready to ride. It's very simple. It's literally a digital level. If I put it into riderless balance mode, the lights start to pulse, so the machine literally comes to life.
This is actually the control unit board. There are 2 of them in the system.
Our software has to be absolutely reliable. On a PC, if you have an application that crashes or misbehaves, you get annoyed and you reboot the PC and off you go. In our machine, we can't have that happen. We have about 32K of program space. If you were to look on a PC, that's probably less than an empty spreadsheet would take up.
The new product, it has a little bit more of a unique character to it. Gave the product a gestural quality of sort of moving forward. The 2 finishes or colors that we're offering on the new product are a gloss clear coat white and a hard black anodized finish. The white finish is the one that can be polished and kept looking beautiful, while the black finish is extremely durable and will probably appeal to commercial customers or people who, maybe are pretty hard on their machine.
I have to put my name on this product, so if this product's going to go out, I need to make sure, both from my standpoint and from the team's standpoint, that it is going to continue to perform at the level that we expect our products to perform. What we're doing is we're taking the absolute most extreme conditions from an operational standpoint, from an environmental standpoint, and we're putting them all together and we're running these tests to make sure that no matter what the product sees when it gets out in the field, it will continue to operate and meet all of our high requirements for the entire life of the product. So an example of some of the types of tests we would do is on this lean steer module. We currently have the frame that you lean with, and that lean steer module is tested 30 degrees one way and then 30 degrees the other way. To make sure that the machine, no matter what environment it sees out there, the machine is still going to provide the functionality that we tell the customers it's going to provide.
The testing that we do is very, very extensive. We test things at the module level. We test code at the desk. We do a lot of testing to try to create failure modes that we will probably never see out in the real world.
The first production intent machines that came off the line, we started putting them on a test track. This is a very demanding course. We require that the machine not only not break, but also maintain full functionality. So we do some pretty severe testing when it comes to the mechanical side of both durability and functional testing that we do.
The X2 is all about utility and ruggedness. The knobby tires and the black powder coat finish on the wheels really add to this kind of character of the X2 machine as being very functional and rugged. So the bottom of the lean steer frame is black anodized with the laser etching, and then the top of the bar is just a clear anodized finish, revealing that, again, that metallic finish.
If someone were to take it apart and look around in there, they wouldn't find a speaker inside that machine. And so we use the motor drive electronics and play some clever games with the commands we send to the motors. And that's where all the noises that the machine makes when the rider is using it come from.
How's it sound?
It's a little sharp.
I don't think mine makes any noise.
Asking me to pick a favorite part of it would be like trying to pick one of my favorite kids. What really makes the product magic to me, what really makes me fall in love with it, is how all the pieces come together into a coherent whole.
When they get on the machine, within a couple of seconds, they just start grinning.
Having our engineers attend Segway Fest and dealer meetings and things like that, we were able to get a lot of feedback on what people would really like to see.
I feel like this particular machine has had the benefit of the learning of all the things that we did on the first product.
We set a pretty high bar with our first product. We think we've gone one better with this next product.
So I don't see that the evolution of the Segway PT will end. It is something that's going to be continually going on and be a continual product of the amazing creativity of the team that I work with.
Hi, welcome back to Freedom TV. We're here with Mary from Mary's Bakery and Deli, and we're going to play. You're going to show us how to do all this stuff, which is really great. Now, what are we starting with? This is kind of unusual. What are these little guys?
Well, I have some meringues made up. I have some plain, and I love to put some nuts in it. So I put some hazelnut in some of these here. So got the plain or the ones with nuts. So
now this base is fairly simple. I mean, this is very easy.
Yeah, you can do one batch, which is 4 egg whites with 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. You beat that to a very soft, beat it up to not too much. You don't want to beat it up too dry. And then just before you finish it, you start adding a cup of sugar very slowly, and just keep beating it till it gets nice and glossy. And then you pipe it onto a parchment paper.
That's one of those.
Yeah, you either pipe it onto a parchment paper or just spoon it and then spread it into a circle and bake it in 200-degree oven for about 4 or 5 hours.
That's pretty.
Till it gets nice and dry.
Not a very hot oven. That's 200
no,
degrees.
very slow.
Very slow.
So it doesn't turn brown and it stays nice and white. And then you can just put anything you want on top of that.
Oh, excellent.
You can just have single or stack these, and then we'll do that.
Yeah,
okay?
great. Let's see what we do here.
Okay, I have some fruit here, so just some fresh strawberries, blueberries, or cherries, and I pitted these cherries here. So we can stack these, or I'll have some single ones for the guys in the back to try. And
oh, I'm sure they'll be so upset at that.
But you can layer this with fruit, whipped cream, and chocolate ganache if you want to, or just melt some chocolate and drizzle on that and just give it a little extra flavor. And so we have some chocolate here, and I'll just, we don't have any tools here, so I'll just have to make
just a little bit of a base.
Yeah.
And then you can, that kind of cements them.
Well, I just did, this gives you the chocolate. And then if you want to spread that, then when you put your fruit on top of it, it doesn't soak the meringue disc. So it keeps it a little bit longer. But you can just put your whipped cream on it and then put the fruit. And, a couple hours you have to eat it. Or probably last a little bit longer. But you put it in the fridge overnight, it'll be just a little bit soggy.
All right,
so I'll just put a little bit of whipped cream on.
Okay. Can we get that from overhead? Let's see. Woo!
Then if you want to do some
chocolate.
if you want to do some red, white, blue, we'll just put some fruit on top of that. The strawberries.
Oh, here, let's move this out there a little bit so we can see a little bit overhead. Oh, okay. So you can just decorate it however you want and just go crazy.
Yes. And
this is something anybody can do. I mean, with
this
that
is the easiest
meringue recipe, and this is quick.
Yes, very quick and very easy.
Now these little meringues, these little guys, they're so light. I'm just amazed at these. Do these keep for a long time?
Those keep for a long time. If you want to make them at this point, just put them in a plastic bag and seal them and keep them for months.
Really?
Yep. But once you put stuff on them, you have to use them because they absorb the moisture and get a little bit soggy. So there's one of your, and then, or we can just make another one. I'll make one with cherry. no whipped cream. Just put some. No chocolate. We'll just put some whipped cream on that.
And again, this is and you use this bag to make these swirly
right,
ones.
Right,
it's
right.
The same,
you just put a tip in a bag, and then
you can just put in.
And these are the fresh cherries, organic cherries. These are beautiful local cherries, and we'll put one more.
So you can stack these and
you
make
can
it
stack them, yes.
Make it just
or you can make a big disc. Make a huge disc
okay.
and then stack it and then cut them in slices if you like.
Oh, and that'd be like, is that sort of like what a flan is? Only a flan's cake, right?
The flan. No, the flan that I make is custard.
Oh, that's
it's
right,
custard.
custard,
Yeah.
custard, right.
Okay, so we have another one. It's blueberry and cherry. That's another one.
Oh my gosh!
It's a
Look
double.
At the, I want. Okay,
yeah,
now this
we'll
is
just keep making some more here. That's
and
another
they're so
thing.
light. That's what's
They're
so
very
amazing.
very light. At this point, if you just want something, and this is for people that can't have any gluten. So this is gluten-free. You just add your fruit to it if you want a very light, low-cal.
Right.
There is no fat in that.
Right. So the sugar,
there's
obviously, and you get calories
and it's a
from that.
wonderful, if you want to just
and it's a very light dessert, especially for summertime. You don't want to be eating a big,
No.
well, I wouldn't mind eating a big,
or
cheesecake.
You can make them in smaller disc and then just have a little individual.
So you can make them really, really tiny.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay,
or you can make
cool.
a little basket, a basket, just make a disc and then just make a little outline, and so you can just fill it with whatever you want.
Now, originally, I keep having people, woo, look at that. That's cool. I learned about, this is called in Australia, it's the meringue is similar to what's called the pavlova.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a dessert that, I don't know, it's not too popular. Ooh, I like that one. Look at that. That's incredible.
Pretty, yeah.
And it's light, it's airy.
Yes.
It's easy to use. Now the bag that you've got, the pastry bag.
Uh-huh.
Let me just look at these. These are kind of they are
That's
like
just
a cloth.
Is it
a
little
cloth
plastic?
or plastic?
Yeah, it's a
That's
plastic,
fine.
but you put
and
a tip in it.
A tip in it?
Yeah, it's a star tip in here.
Right.
And then you just whip up your whipped cream and whip it up with
basically the pressure is what pushes it through.
You just push it down.
Oh my gosh.
You can make little stars, or you can just go around.
Excellent.
And very easy.
So you have all kinds of combinations, and you could slice the strawberries.
You can slice the strawberries, yes. If you want to, you can slice them and then
make them little stars.
Make your little pizza. You can make a big one and just slice strawberries around, and another a row of blueberries and another row of cherries. So you just kind of have a little different pizza.
Now, is there something else you could use besides whipped cream on this?
You can use. You can make a custard. I've done that.
Oh, and can you pipe the custard onto it also?
You can just pipe the custard, or you can just scoop the custard and then with a spoon spread it.
Just spread it out.
Yeah, so you'll have a layer of meringue and custard, and then put your fruit on it.
Now, would that be like a cooked custard, or?
I cook my own custard, yes, or you can make a chocolate mousse if you wanted to.
Oh,
Put some chocolate mousse on top of that.
Right, and then you can do the same thing.
Variation is just unlimited, so you can do anything.
And it's basically, now, when you make these kinds of things, will they keep for, say, several days, or once they're done?
At this point, maybe it just gets a little bit soft. The meringue gets soft in the fridge overnight. So it's wonderful to make it as just before you serve it.
So it absorbs the liquid from the fruit and the whipped cream and chocolate, so that makes it kind of
not
soggy.
so
but
crunchy anymore.
Other than that, like that, in the form without anything on top of it, can I break one of these open?
Huh?
Can I break one open?
Sure.
I wanted to show people.
I like to just dip that in chocolate and just eat it like a cookie.
Yeah.
It'll be good that way too.
And if you can see, I don't know whether you can see the internal. Can you see overhead? Can you get the overhead one? I wanted you to see the texture of it. Oh, let's see. I don't know whether you can get any closer. But you can see it's very, very light. I mean, there's nothing there.
No.
It's like, just air. air with a few bits of molecules together. And then again, there's the nuts inside, and you can make them. I think they're just gorgeous.
Yes.
And they're so
they're
light.
wonderful dipped in chocolate, and or just by themselves.
By themselves, or just I have to make sure that it's okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I want to thank you so much for showing this. This is easy, quick, fast. Even I could do this.
I know, and very tasty.
And very, very tasty, and and very light.
Yes.
It's amazingly light. Well, we're going to take excuse me, pavlova down the throat. We're going to take another quick little break. And then we're going to come back and we can take some questions from you for Mary if you have any burning questions about pastry. And right now we're going to go to one of my favorite organizations, Children's Scholarship Fund. This is an organization that matches, for every dollar that's donated to the scholarship fund, the Walton Foundation matches it dollar for dollar, and then the funds go to children who want to have an education outside the government school system. So they can apply, and every year there's probably about 2,500 to 3,000 people who apply, and only about 300 or 400 get into the program. So this is Children's Scholarship Fund.
It began as a local program in our nation's capital. In the fall of 1997, a man with a quarter-century commitment to helping children in need, Wall Street entrepreneur Ted Forstmann and John Walton, announced they would provide scholarships so 1,000 Washington school children could attend school of their choice. When over 8,000 applications rushed in for the 1,000 available scholarships, Ted Forstmann saw America's need for educational choice.
Poor kids have a very rough deal with respect to education because the system really isn't working.
We simply as a country cannot afford to split our country into haves and have-nots.
The Children's Scholarship Fund was created
to help low-income families send their children to
private or parochial schools.
The new program is being funded by a lot of private money.
An experimental program to challenge public education.
It's the latest example of a commitment to those who need help most.
The goal should be to educate the public.
It really is extraordinary that you and Mr. Walton would take $100 million of your own money.
Seemed a little weird, you know. This old white fella's coming around talking about he want to give some money to some inner city children. What's this man thinking about?
You weren't a deprived Negro child, we know.
What do you get back from it?
As you save a life, you save the world.
It's much more than an investment in money. It is an investment in taking a risk and a chance on competition and education.
An investment in a child has a guaranteed return.
There has to be an alternative if you don't have money. Sure, if you got money, you can buy yourself out, you can go to private school, but we have to do something for all of those that don't have the money.
I see this as giving poor people an opportunity to participate where they historically have been excluded.
Order, decency, hard work, fairness, all the things that would make public education work.
The Children's Scholarship Fund is giving children a chance and giving families a choice.
It gives them the choice that so many Americans have.
I think that these scholarships are going to be of great assistance to a lot of people.
I'm interested in getting to a position quickly where every single child in this country has an equal opportunity at a decent education.
When I wake up in the morning, love.
When I grow up, I want to be a doctor.
And my heart is filled with pain.
I want to be a teacher.
Smile I had up on my face is gone.
A lawyer.
Can't see the sunshine from the rain.
Scientist.
When I think of you.
Children should not have to go to school in fear. Will my book bag be taken?
Then the world's all right with me.
I didn't like it. The choice was picked by the system.
No, it's just one thought of you.
She was floundering, and she was losing.
And I know it's gonna be.
We sacrificed a little bit and we just transferred them to private school.
Lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day.
The scholarship was the very best choice I have ever made.
They're pushed, they're motivated by their teachers, by their peers.
When it comes to the education of our children, we have to be the best consumers.
Children deserve the best. They deserve the best. Not mediocre. They deserve the best.
Hi, welcome back to Freedom TV, and we're here with Mary, Mary's Bakery, and we've been talking about pastries and all kinds of things that you can make that are fairly easy.
Yes.
And we just did the pavlova, which is, or meringue, I guess is what they call it here. Nobody calls it a pavlova. But it's a wonderful little dessert treat. I wonder if you could, no, you couldn't do that for Halloween. I was thinking this would be great for Halloween. Nobody would take it anymore. Well, that's if you get anybody to come to your house for Halloween. I don't know. Now, in pastry, is there a distinct difference of like groups of people as to what they like? I mean, is there like people who come in and they only want chocolate, and some people come in and they want, like me, everything?
Yes, yes. Everybody's got their own favorite dessert, and a lot of people come in and ask for chocolate.
Right.
Definitely, and that's what they want.
Yeah.
And I've had people come in and didn't have any chocolate, the kind that they wanted, and they didn't want anything else. So it's either that, but most people just want something special, something homemade taste and good.
And that's the thing, is that there is a real distinct difference in. It's not so much in the quality, but there is a distinct difference in the large commercial manufacturers, like Sara Lee, have to have a flavor that's going to appeal across a wide variety of people.
Right.
But small individual bakeries can specialize in various different tastes and different ways of doing things.
And we do, right.
Yeah, and what I like about the people who are being entrepreneurial is you could have a whole street full of bakers like they used to have in medieval times in England, and every single one of them is going to be different. So it's like, what's wrong with competition, folks? There's nothing wrong with competition. Competition is good. It creates all kinds of unusual and unique ways of
makes
doing
you
things.
better, right.
Now, do you like working with different fruits in pastry?
We do summertime with fresh fruits. We have that. I have different kinds of cakes. The biggest seller we have is the fresh banana cake. They love the banana whipped cream.
Fresh banana cake.
Yes, it's a banana cake layered with caramel sauce, whipped cream, and bananas. They love that. And we also make a poppy seed with Marion berries and whipped cream. That's a good one too.
Poppy seed with everything.
Yeah, it's a lighter cake, and it's very, very pleasant. Very
now,
good,
what was the one that you did? It's about that tall, and it's coconut, and it's
the lemon coconut.
Oh, that's I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
It must be.
Yes,
it must be a good 7 or 8 inches.
5.5, 6 inches.
But it's
huge.
It's
6 inches tall.
6 inches tall.
Yes, because the box that goes in is 5.5, and it's usually taller than the box. Yeah, but no, it's the lemon cake with the lemon curd, and then has coconut on the outside with whipped cream. Very light and wonderful.
What's lemon curd? What is it?
Lemon curd is the egg yolks, and cooked up with lemon juice and a little bit of butter, and so it's a lemon, like a lemon filling, but it's a very nice tart.
Yeah,
filling.
it has that tart and sweet kind of taste to it.
Yes,
so
it's excellent on scones or putting it in the middle of a cake.
I've never seen it anywhere else. I've never. I mean, I've seen it in very expensive, little tiny jars in the supermarket.
Yes.
Like lemon curd, this big.
Yes.
But you can make it yourself.
Yes.
So you can get recipes and make lemon curd, and that actually goes as you can use that as a filling.
Yes.
Oh, I think we have a call. Do you have a question for Mary?
Yes, it's a little bit obscure. Something about, you talked about saffron rice, and I was curious I know it's a traditional Iranian dish, and I was curious about the saffron. I know I learned it comes from crocuses, and I was wondering, do they use fresh, and how do they harvest it? And it seems like it would be pretty burdensome to try to gather all that out of crocuses. So that's all I had.
Crocus, yes. It comes from the crocus flower, but it's not fresh. Saffron, it's dried, and I think Spain, the ones that I have, it's either from Spain or they grow it in in the Middle East.
Right.
Not sure what parts of it, but
Yeah. And the saffron is the pestles, the
inside it's inside a small saffron flower. It's like a crocus flower,
Right.
but it's a saffron flower. Yes, it's picked with I think tweezers. It's very, very difficult.
Yeah, no
That's
wonder
why
it's
so expensive.
no wonder
Yeah.
a little tiny vial
Yeah.
is like $1,000 in the store.
It's pretty expensive,
Yeah.
but it makes the rice just gives it a wonderful flavor.
Yeah, it's this very light, delicate kind of taste.
Yes.
That's interesting. So and where does saffron rice comes from the East then? I never heard of it until I started eating Indian food.
Yeah, well, in Iran, saffron rice is just like an everyday thing.
Really?
Yeah. It's well, I mean, if you can afford it.
Yeah,
yes.
well,
But
that's true.
yes, it's just especially for holidays, and if you have guests over,
Right.
you have to
It's
have
kind
the
of
saffron.
special,
Yes. Mhm.
special rice. Now, is that similar to like jasmine rice?
They use basmati rice. Saffron is the flavoring that add to. You can use jasmine rice and add saffron.
So
to it.
what
And
is jasmine rice? I mean, is it sort of flavored with jasmine? Or?
And I think it's just a name for it. So
okay.
the area maybe it's coming from, I'm not really sure.
Right.
I don't know. They have different, but it's a different grain of rice too. Like the basmati is the one that I really love that, and I work with. Jasmine, I think might be a little stickier rice.
Right.
When you cook it, depends on what kind of rice you use. It gives you the, whether it's sticky or nice and fluffy.
Right. And I've seen a lot in Chinese cooking also that where they've got the different, sweet sticky rice.
Right,
What?
right. Yeah.
Rice, sticky and sweet. Who knows?
Yeah.
Now, do you use a lot of rice in some of the dishes that you prepare? Is that kind of an integral part of
Persian dishes that I do? I use rice.
Right.
I love to. Yeah. Most of the time, the shanks that we do, lamb shanks I do.
Right.
Sometimes I serve it with mashed potatoes, but mostly with rice.
With the rice. Now, in Iran, do they use brown rice at all, or is it mainly?
I never had brown rice. No, it's
Isn't that
white.
amazing?
It's white rice. I mean, now maybe because no, I never had brown rice.
Really?
No, it was always
Isn't that
white
incredible?
rice. Yes.
It's like, why did everybody in the world decide we're going to take off the outside covering of the rice where
Yeah.
all the vitamins are?
Yeah,
We're going
yeah.
to throw that out.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're going to use
It
this
looks
nice
prettier, I guess.
white
I don't
stuff.
know. Yeah. So.
And how does it compare, like the difference between potatoes and rice as a base, a carbohydrate base for different foods, like with lamb or with different meats?
It's just it's just a preference. That's in Iran. It's at least one rice a day. One meal is made out of
Really?
rice a day. They have different kinds of dishes, but they serve rice with at least one meal.
Right.
And potatoes wasn't that big.
Really?
Yes.
That's
I mean,
interesting.
most dishes were served with rice, saffron rice, or different kinds of rice made with vegetables in the rice. But potatoes were maybe fried potatoes, but not served as with the sauces or the lamb.
Yeah,
or
it gets
anything.
kind of
Yeah.
probably soupy, whereas the
Yeah.
rice kind of hangs together a little bit more.
Soaks up all that sauce, all the
Right.
wonderful.
Now, have you thought of doing more Iranian pastries?
I do some, but I do some, but it's just that
you like
the
the
other
pies.
stuff. The other stuff sells a little better, so we
Yeah.
just give them what they want.
Yeah, and then also,
Yeah, we have baklava most of the time, or as often as we have the time to do it. But
yeah, it's very labor intensive, isn't it? Doing baklava.
Not too bad. No, it's not too bad. It's
Really?
just like everything else. We're in the kitchen.
You just like cooking, Mary.
We're in the kitchen and we just throw that in there.
Yeah, we'll just throw that in. Yeah. Me, kitchen. Non sequitur here. It doesn't go together. It's
Yeah,
like,
just go
I'll
to
do
Mary's.
the cleaning. Go to Mary's.
Yes.
Go. Not cooking today.
Yes.
One of the things I wanted to ask you about baklava is I've had baklava like dozens of different places. And it's so incredibly different. Sometimes they'll have a thick, sticky sauce on it, and sometimes it'll be like water.
Oh.
What's the difference between those two things? Is it just taste, or is there like different regions where baklava
probably
comes
different
from?
recipes, different bakers making them, and it's just layered of dough, real fine dough, phyllo dough. You layer that with a brush with butter, and then layer it with nuts, and then you soak it with a syrup, and we usually use. I love to use rose water and honey, and a little bit of lemon juice, and then you just soak it with that, kind of like overnight.
So it is like a marinade.
Right,
I wondered about that.
It's a drier pastry. When you bake it, it's pretty dry, and then you have to put that sauce in it to soak it up.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's pretty dry. Pretty flaky.
Yeah, very flaky. Yes.
Well, that's interesting. And baklava. What's with the rose water? Where did rose water come from? We've got only a minute. If you can give me, I'm very curious about rose water.
Rose water is just an extract they get. I'm sure they get that from the rose petals.
Oh, yeah.
But it's very common in Iranian baking.
Baking.
In
so
the baking.
It's mainly used in the baking.
They use it a lot in cookies and pastries, and if they made cake, the rose water would be to flavor it.
Right. It just has this light, delicate, beautiful taste.
I love rose water and orange water too.
Orange water? I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, orange water is very good
interesting. Too. Well, Mary, I want to thank you so much for coming along and giving us all this great information on quick and easy, tasty little things to do that are light for summer.
Very good.
And I really want to thank you for coming along and
thank
showing
you for
me
having
that
me.
even people like me can make dessert.
Right. Very good.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for joining us here on Freedom TV. We're going to be having an interesting show next week. And right over the top of my head, it just flew out my brain cells, and I can't tell you what it's going to be. But it will be good, so join us. Until then, it's your voice. Make sure that you're using it.
I cry for my country, for the pain that it's been through. She's been made to suffer for the profit of a few. Storm clouds are forming, winds of change now touch our shores. Our hear forefathers are crying as the dream's been crucified. America, I show my love for thee with strength and loyalty. America.